Today on Be Something Wonderful, Neville Goddard's technique to change your entire life. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Here we are in the beautiful city of Medellin, Colombia, with another big video for you today. The question was around the Neville Goddard technique called revision. Really, the flagship technique or process of Neville Goddard's law of assumption. In other words, assuming reality is what you say it is. Right? Creating and imagining your reality the way you would like it to be versus the way it appears to be. And within that idea, he talked about the idea of revising events that you experienced that were unwanted or undesired. In other words, imagining that that event or circumstance unfolded differently. Creating an imaginal scene, seeing it the way you would have liked it to be, and not the way that you remember it to be. This is powerful. The idea that anything that happens that's unwanted or undesired, revise it. See it the way you would have liked it to be. And the question came up from this particular subscriber, because I talked about in a video either yesterday or the day before. They're on the recent videos. In the description below, you have the most recent videos. It's in one of those, where one of you were commenting on that you failed your exam in school, and that you affirmed it, but you affirmed that you would pass the exam, but you didn't pass. You declared that, yeah, I failed. Those were the results. And this one creator that I spoke with said, Tom, couldn't he just revise it? Couldn't he change the exam results? Or in other words, change that past event into how he would have liked it to be, using Neville Goddard's revision. Well, we're going to talk about this idea today and more. Remember, when Neville Goddard talked about this idea, it's not merely changing your perception of that past event, right? Some think, well, you can't change the past. So revision's really about perceiving it differently. So it changes the way you are looking at it in the present, so you can create a desired future of your wish fulfilled. This is what many think when they think about, and he did too, this one that I was talking to, thinks about revision. But remember, revision's not a mere change in perception. It's a choosing of a new reality. So yes, you don't change the past, but the idea is you don't change any script, past, present, or future. All possibilities exist, all identities, all potential, think of it as timelines or scripts or lifelines or alternative parallel versions of past, present, and future realities exist in potential. And so it's never about changing any of those. Each script or reality or lifeline or identity has its own fate. It has its own destiny. You don't change any of that. What you do is you move to a new identity, a new version of you, a new version of your past, present, and future that aligns with that imaginal scene or your wish fulfilled or who you're being here and now. This is the power, right? So in Neville Goddard's revision, you're not changing that past undesired event. That goes on. That's part of a script or a reality that exists as part of all that is. It's never changing any part of God or all that is. Instead, what the imaginal scene does is it moves you to that preferred identity and preferred reality where the past was different. It has a different past where you actually pass the exam. You become that identity. And that creates that imagined future of you always having passed the exam. This is what we're talking about. Remember, how is this possible? Because you are all that is. You are that I am awareness. You are the center of that one divine mind. You, as an individualized, personalized center of I am consciousness, exist in all potential realities or identities or scripts or lifelines. There are infinite versions of potential ideas of the past, infinite versions of potential ideas of what you call your present, and infinite potential versions of what you call your future. Remember, past and future are just ideas of the now moment. So there are infinite ideas of that horizontal linear experience. You're not changing any one of those ideas. You're moving to the alternative. That's what revision does. So here you are as the center, and then you have your finite experience as that one divine mind. That finite experience as you imagine your life the way you would like it to be. You imagine and assume and affirm your life. Remember, the frame's changing as you're doing this, as you would like it to be. And this is what creates that new horizontal linear experience. But as you stand in the present, you think, well, the present's the present, right? I want to move to the future where I pass the exam. I want to move to the of my desired future. So you imagine and affirm. You revise that exam that you failed. But you still believe that I failed. I'll revise it. I'll feel better about it. I'll see it the way I would have liked to see it, have seen it. So I can move to the future where I have a passing grade. This is what we believe we're doing with revision. But remember, this script where you didn't pass the exam doesn't change. You move to a new alternative, a new version of you, past, present, and future, where you had always passed the exam. Where you pass the exam, where you'll always pass the exam. You're choosing to be that identity for whom and through whom that experience of passing the exam is real, or your reality, past, present, and future. That's what we're talking about, right? So revision is not, remember, when people say you can't change the past, that there's truth to that, but not for the reason that they say it, not for the cliche. In other words, you're not changing or altering any one horizontal linear past idea of who you are. You're leaving it and choosing a new idea. A new idea in the present moment of who you are creates a new horizontal linear you that makes more sense to who you're being now, and a future horizontal linear you that makes more sense to that choice that you've made. We're going to unpack this very clearly today. Remember, why is all of this possible? Even Neville Goddard's revision, which we're going to unpack in a big way today. Because there's only one creative power. There's only one source, one cause, one substance of all that is. And that's you, and that as I am. I am awareness. God is. And within God is all that is. God is, existence exists. That one reality, that one creative power, that one substance, that one source is God, that God is. But within that isness is all that is, all potential to experience yourself as that one source. One awareness, one consciousness, one reality. That's why God said to Moses, I am that I am. I am who I am. I am the one and only reality. There is no other. There's no other law or Lord. In the Old Testament, all capital letters with Lord means law. There's no other God. I become that who and what or which I am conscious and aware of being. I am that I am. I become that which I am conscious and aware of being. That's what the real idea of God is. I become it in that moment as I imagine and desire it, because I am all things. That's why in Scripture it says, just say the word. What's the word? I am. I am. Who and what I'm conscious of being, I become. in the awareness and the consciousness of it, because that's all there is. I am that, or who I am. I imagine, assume, and announce myself to be. So nothing new there, but we're going to lead up to revision here. You're not merely, remember, one of you, we talked about this idea of some of you want to soften the idea of I am God. We want to water it down a bit so we don't feel so arrogant. We want to create that 3D idea of humility, right? And remember, there's nothing more humble than saying that you are the center of reality, that you're not separate from anything. But we'll talk about this idea. So you're not merely, though, an aspect or part of God. You're not only one with God. Some of you go, well, I feel better if I say I'm one with God. But you're not only one with God, you are God. Right? You are God. I am the Lord, I am the law, and there is no other. There's no God besides me. It was said over and over in Scripture. Even I, am the Lord, or the law of creation. And besides me, there's no Savior. There's no one that saves you from the circumstances of your life but you. So it's okay, though. It's okay if it makes you feel better and feel more humble to say, I am one with God. But that still implies separation. Right? It still implies there's a higher divine power calling the shots. I'm one with that higher divine power that's really in charge. Remember, the message of Jesus, your I am awareness and your higher self, is not that you're merely one with God. It's clear what he said. He said, I and the Father are one. He did not say, I am one with God. He said, I and the Father are one. One reality, one source, one awareness. Wow. I am the Lord, or the law, and there is no other. So you're not merely one with God. You are the one. I and the Father are one. Yes, the Father is greater than I. The source is greater than I. Right? That source that you are is great, but you're one with it. You're not separate from it. It's greater than any physical perspective or vantage point that you could have in your 3D physical experience. But you're not separate from it. Your higher self is one with it. But not just one with it. I and the Father are one. It's one. There is no separation. So even the idea that I'm with God implies some separation. But that's okay. If that makes you feel better, then great. But remember, you're not merely the operant power. You're all power. Do you see? Even the idea, Neville Goddard's idea, even that idea is a bit limited. You're not just the operant power. You're all the power. You're not just one with that power. You're all of the power. I am awareness, the Lord, the Word of God. In the beginning was the Word, I am, the absolute creative power, source of substance of God. And the Word was with God. And the Word was God. Do you see? Not merely with God, but the Word was God. It's all of reality. I am that I am. That's what the ancients were trying to tell us, right? So you can make yourself feel better, but then when circumstances in your life do not manifest or unfold as you desire, then you start asking the question, what happened? But if your source, if you're all power, if you're all reality, if you're not merely one with God, but I and the Father are one, then you don't have to ask that question anymore. You can say, well, those circumstances don't have any reality outside of me. I get to say what those exam results are. And I passed them. That's my reality. So sure, you can create a reality and experience serving the Lord or the law, right? The idea of saying, okay, I'm going to practice the law of assumption. I'm going to practice being the center of infinity, right? And you can, and remember in the Old Testament when it talks about fearing the Lord, it means to be in awe of. The Lord meaning law, all capital letters, meaning law, Meaning, when they said fearing the Lord, they mean being in awe of the law of creation. That it's something outside of you. That still yet there's a higher power that creates your reality for you. Using the law of assumption and other manifesting techniques, you can assume to create manifest changes in your reality, being the operant power. Or you can know yourself as the one and only power. Do you see? That's where that happens with many of us. Right? We still have this idea that I'm using the law of assumption, these techniques, right? The law or the Lord. I'm serving the law or the Lord. I'm in awe of this power. And we're using it to create and manifest changes in our reality. We're being the operant power, but when the changes don't happen, then we start questioning it. Am I doing it right? Am I asking the right way? But when you know yourself as the one and only power, that question becomes irrelevant. Your source. That you can't get it wrong. When you declare it and be it, you are it. It's an announcement of reality. It's not even a creation of reality. Remember, awareness and consciousness becomes aware and conscious of who and what it is in that moment. It creates from its own beingness, from its own substance, and you are too. So, and when it appears that your reality is not reflecting what you desire, which we talked about, you can be like the older son. Sure, the firstborn, remember the prodigal son, the story of the prodigal son? You can be like the firstborn son from the physical birth in the prodigal, asking and wondering why, hasn't it manifested? Remember in the prodigal, the older son says, look, to the father, for so many years I've been serving you, to the law or the Lord or the father in the story of the prodigal son. And I have never neglected a command of yours. I've done all the right things. I've affirmed the right way. Right? I've been imagining my wish fulfilled. But yet you don't throw me a party like the younger son. Right? So remember, the older son was upset with the father and jealous that the younger son got the party. But remember, you're seeing yourself separate from it. You're waiting for that source to create for you, and you are source. Or you can be like the younger son and claim it. Remember, the younger son went out, squandered his inheritance, and then rose in consciousness. The second birth, remember, the second son of the younger son represents being reborn into that awareness of who you are. You can declare, I'm not only the operant power, but I am all power. I'm not merely a part of God or an aspect of God expressing itself or himself through me. I am all of God in expression. Wow. Hear this. Like the older son, right? But waiting for God to act through him. Right? I've been waiting. So many years I've been waiting and serving you. And I didn't get the party. Right? I didn't get the goat and all of that. And the robe. Right? And the ring. As the story goes on, the prodigal. Or you could be like the younger son. And know that I'm all of God in expression. Versus an aspect of God that's expressing itself through me. I am all of God in expression. Wow. I am that one divine mind in expression. I am all that is in expression. Big point here. You see the difference. This is the story of the prodigal. Right? The older son upset. And what does the father say to him? Son, you have always been with me. What is mine is yours. It's already been yours, but you haven't claimed it. Yeah, you're saying you're the operant power, but you're not claiming yourself as that power. You're all power. Yes, I express myself through you, but you're not a part of me. You're not just a part of God expressing itself through you. You're all of God in expression. This is powerful. That's what makes Neville Goddard's revision so powerful. The idea of when you have an experience, an unwanted, undesired experience of reality, that you revise it, that you imagine it happened differently, that you imagine that it played out the way you would have liked it to be. In other words, you're remembering reality differently. What is memory? It's just an imaginal act. It's just a mental image. You're remembering it how you would have liked it to be, not what you believe or it appears to be to you. This is Neville Goddard's revision. The idea of imagining a past undesired outcome differently, revising the events to how you would have liked them to play out, to remember it how you would have liked it to be, rather than how it appears to you as a memory or a mental image. You're revising it. You're remembering righteously the truth of who you are, the truth of your reality, because you're the one that decides. But here's what gives you miraculous powers. This is really the distinction I wanted to make. Yeah, you could be the operant power and imagine that past event differently, changing the way you see it from the present moment, with the idea that you're going to create and manifest that wish fulfilled in your future. Or you can understand that who and what you declare yourself to be in this moment, here and now, which you assume and imagine as your identity, changes all reality, past, present, and future. Changes all ideas of who you were, who you are, and who you believe you will be right now. So here's what gives you miraculous powers. Your revising or imagining is not merely a change in perception. It's not merely seeing a past event differently so you can feel better and fulfilled in the present with the desire to manifest your desired future. In order that, right, that idea. So it's not about that. It's not about changing any past event. It's not even about even if you have that idea that you don't change that past event. It's not even seeing the past event differently. It's that as you revise that past event, as you see it differently, you're moving to a new past, a new present, a new future, a new horizontal linear experience that makes more space-time sense to who you're deciding to be now. That's next level revision. It revises the past, present, and future. It's not just to feel better about an undesired reality, an undesired past that you believe happened in hopes of creating a better present and a better future. It's changing everything, the past, present, and future. Right? Because you can revise that past event at the same time believing that that past event can't be changed. So you go, I'm just feeling better about it, in hopes of creating or manifesting or imagining a better future. But it's bigger than that. So in other words, that's my past, but I will perceive it differently to feel better about it now in order to manifest a better future. That's what this person who I talked with believed revision was, that idea. But it's bigger than that. Sure, it can do that. You as the operant power, your source, you can do anything. But it's more than that. And remember, that does have some power. And you as the operant power can manifest more favorable future outcomes in your life by seeing or revising that past event. But the miraculous power of revision comes from knowing, hear this, knowing you don't change any past event, any reality or script or outcome, past, present, or future. And you don't have to try to feel better about any one manifested undesired outcome. They exist no matter what. All possibilities have a right, a divine right to exist as potential. It's not trying to change any part of all that is. That's why they call it all that is. It's not trying to change any part of God. It's leaving that. As you revise it, you're choosing. You're not changing. You're not altering reality. You're choosing a new one. Instead, you choose your preferred version of events, past, present, and future, by always remembering, always seeing, always imagining things as you would have liked them to be, as you would like them to be now and in the imagined future. So as you would have liked them to be in the past, and as you would like them to be in the present and the future. I am reality and there is no other. This is the idea. I've talked about this on a few videos now. I want to show this again so you get this idea. You are this no matter what. You are all that is. You are that I am awareness of being. You are those I am identities, all identities. It's not past lives. All your lives are going on right now. That's what deja vu is. That's what, when you receive an imaginal picture out of nowhere, and then that imaginal picture becomes your reality. That's a future you. In other words, all identities, the past, present, and future identities exist now. They're not in the future. They're not in the past. You're living all those lives now. Where do you think imaginal scenes come from? Where do you think out of the blue ideas come from? Where do you think memories come from? You're remembering past, present, and future, all of it now. So really, all of it, whether it's deja vu thinking you've experienced something from the past, it's really deja vu that it could be past, present, or future. It's the deja vu of one of these identities that's living that life right now, because all the past, present, and future events are happening right now. All of it is a memory that you can either remember it the way you would like it to be, or keep believing in those manifested conditions that are not desired. So here you are. I am who I assume and imagine myself to be, as that multidimensional identity. You use your own human imagination that's one with the divine imagination, that I am identity, and you assume it. So here you are, the typical idea of revision, that you have this assumed fixed past, like the idea of the person that didn't pass the exam, right? And you want to revise it to feel better in the present. You still believe you didn't pass the exam, but you're imagining it. You're imagining it so you can move to the future where you actually pass the exam. But remember, and that does happen. That's one way to create that idea, right? But remember, this past is changing, the present is changing, and the future is changing in every moment. It's not fixed. What you're actually doing is choosing a new past, revising the desired past and shifting. You're revising the undesired past and shifting to an entirely new alternative parallel reality, script, timeline, and version of you, past, present, and future. It feels like you're doing this, but you're really doing this. You're creating an entirely new timeline, script, reality, film roll that's more representative of who you're being now. A horizontal linear past that makes more space-time sense to who you declare yourself to be now, that person that always passes his exams with flying colors. You're creating a new future that makes more time-space sense to who you're being now. It's all changing. That's why revision's so powerful. In other words, you're not changing this script. All scripts are, the script where you didn't pass the exam goes on and on and on. You're moving to the script where you pass the exam, where you always passed your exam, where that's what you do, because you're pulling it from the potential of all identities, all realities, all possibilities that you are. So let's show this a little bit more. So when someone says you can't change the past, and you can only choose to see it differently, this cliche, this idea of our 3D physical mind, and you can only accept and feel better about that past. Well, there's truth to that, right? They're right, but they're not right for the reason you think, because that's the assumption. There's only one fixed reality or one fixed past that you're revising, and you've got to feel better about it. You've got to revise it to perceive it differently, to feel better about it. But it doesn't change it, is what you're saying. It doesn't change this. that past is fixed. That's who I am. It doesn't change that. But the next level revision that we've talked about comes from the knowing that yes, you can't change the past because you don't have to. You're choosing a new past, a new alternative. Right? Because not only does it not exist, remember the past is just an idea as well as the future. So you can't change the past because not only does it not exist, it's just an idea or a memory from your present identity and perspective. So it's never really about creating the future or revising or changing or imagining a better past. It's deciding who you are here and now, and that changes everything. That's powerful. All those infinite ideas, scripts, realities, and versions of you and your life exist here and now, past, present, and future. So they exist now. And as you revise an event, an undesired reality, you choose a new identity and reality. Past, present, and future, across the board, and vice versa. Vice versa. As you imagine that new event, you're creating a new identity where your past, present, and future is different. Where you create the linear horizontal past and the linear horizontal future. You create ideas of those that are more representative of who you are now. And you choosing and assuming and imagining yourself to be that best version of you here and now changes those ideas of the past and future. It's reciprocal. Your reality, your source. So here you are. This is the true nature of reality. Here you are as all that is, as that infinite I am awareness, as all identities, imagining, creating, assuming, deciding who you are in this moment. And that changes everything. It changes who you believe you are in this moment. It changes who you were, and it changes who you will be, all from this now moment. Remember, the script is written, but there are infinite scripts and infinite fates or destinies that you can choose. All of these exist. Not one of these gets changed or altered. What you're doing in every moment from this physical perspective, a viewpoint, a vantage point that's always shifting, is deciding who you are, either by imagining that desired future, revising an unwanted event that you believe happened in the past, or seeing the events that you see in your physical experience differently here and now. It changes who you are, and it changes reality across the board. And you create that physical manifested experience that's more representative out of all the infinite possibilities, of all the infinite potential of who you're being now. That's powerful. So who you assume and imagine yourself in reality to be right now creates a horizontal linear past from that infinite potential of all that you are that makes more space-time sense to who you're defining yourself to be now. For example, the past where you failed the exam, this particular creator failed the exam, no longer belongs to this new version of you. This identity that's imagining themselves that they passed the exam. This new version of you that's revising that past event, that event where you did not pass the exam goes on and on. It belongs to the other version of you. You're no longer that version of you. You're something greater than it. It's still part of all that you are, but you're no longer focused there. Rather, it belongs to a past version that assumes they failed. Your physical experience is always yielding to and rearranging itself around your identity and who and what you're conscious of being right now. So when you only remember and see and imagine reality, yourself, and your world as you would like it to be, you are revising your entire life experience across the board. Not by changing or altering any one reality, not by changing or altering any one manifested possibility, but by choosing among the infinite possibilities and potential of all that you are. You're just choosing from the infinite potential by deciding who you are. It's next level. Choosing who you are in this moment changes the idea of who you were and changes the idea of who you will be right now. And so that identity of who you were no longer belongs to this new identity, this new definition. This is powerful. That's Neville Goddard's technique, revision, to change your entire life. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, anywhere on social media at either Tom Kearin or Be Something Wonderful, and for being part of our membership channel. We have a new live stream this month, December 22nd, 2024. It's going to be big. It's going to be right live on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel, where I answer your questions live on the chat. It's going to be 12 noon time Pacific time in the US on December 22nd, 2024. If you're a member, join us. If you're not a member, check out the link below. We also just released a powerful video, new content on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. Check it out. Creators with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude. This is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful, with all that construction and noise going on behind us. We're still standing in our center of knowing that we are, you are, all that is. Until next time, we'll see you soon.